Hello everyone, happy Friday. I love you and I'm sending you a very big virtual hug wherever you are on the earth plane right now. So this video is more of a personal video from Lori Human that's experiencing this breaking down of and collapsing of really intense, heavy, dark systems right now. So this isn't necessarily a higher perspective video. I want to preface that this is my truth and it doesn't need to be your truth. And when I state that, I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to debate. And so if this video triggers you, if there's a knee-jerk reaction of wanting to argue, dispute, get into some sort of debate about this, that's not why I'm here and that's not why I'm posting this video. I'm posting this video to bring light to what is occurring right now so that we can start to really see while we're in it what it looks like when you dismantle a very, very dark, very intense, and very powerful consciousness. So I am talking about censorship right now. And censorship is the voice of fear. When you start watching a small group of people censoring thousands upon thousands of humans, those that are censoring those voices are afraid of the voices that are speaking. Okay, they're afraid of it, and so they censor it. They're losing control. So here's what's happening. As we start waking up and holding higher states of consciousness inside of our bodies, okay, we start to see large systems that have been in place, programs and paradigms that have been in place by a small group of humans. And one of those systems or paradigms is a system that has been mind controlling and manipulating the human with fear for thousands of years. You have been controlled. There is a group of humans that have been creating a storyline for us that we've believed for a very long time. This isn't easy to hold and this isn't easy to accept, and that's okay, but it's what's been happening. And as we start increasing our frequency in our body, and we start to see through this paradigm in this program, we start to see the lies, we start to see the manipulation, we start to see the control, we start to see the corruption. We begin to unshackle ourselves from that system. We become free. We literally take the handcuffs off. We step out of that paradigm and program. We see it for what it is, and we start to speak about it. And as we speak about it, we are literally dismantling it or crumbling it or melting it. Okay? And this small group of people, call it whatever you want, the elite, the deep state, it doesn't matter what you call them. It is a consciousness at the end of the day. It's a consciousness that feeds off of fear. It feeds off of control, which is a consciousness. And when we start waking up and no longer playing in that game, playing in that paradigm with them, giving them our fear, giving them our control, they start to freak out. And they start doing things that are irrational, that are against the law, and that take our freedoms away. And one of those things that they're doing is silencing us through censorship. I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but beginning in October 1st, there are thousands upon thousands of accounts on Instagram and Facebook that have been completely erased. This past week, there have been very large accounts on Twitter that have been blocked and censored, where you can't share the accounts. The New York Post, which is the fourth largest newspaper in the United States, was blocked on Twitter. The press secretary of the United States was blocked on Twitter. Okay, the Senator Ted Cruz blocked on Twitter. There are accounts on YouTube that have been completely erased. Thousands. Erased, gone, you cannot find them. So here's what's happening. How do you know that you've been controlled? You start to speak your truth and you begin to get silenced and censored by those that have been controlling you. I'm going to say that again. How do we know that we've been controlled and manipulated? We start speaking a truth that is not their truth. We start speaking a truth that is ours and not what they're giving us. We start thinking for ourselves and asking questions, and we get censored by those that have been controlling and manipulating us our entire lives. That is how you know you've been controlled. If we hadn't been controlled, if there was no corruption and deceit and mind control, we would all be able to speak our truths right now without being censored, because it would all be okay. But that's not happening. We have got to see what we have been under for thousands of years in order to shift it. And like I said a month or two ago, it's going to get louder and louder and louder. And right now it is impossible for many of us to not see what we have been under for a very long time, which is the control, the manipulation, and the fear tactics that have kept us silent, that have kept us out of our bodies, out of our sovereignty, out of our truths. And we have been zombies, even if you think you haven't. Here's the questions I want to ask you. If you're unaware of this censorship that's been going on, I encourage you to Google it. Or, maybe Google will censor that. But start looking into it if you feel called to. Here's the questions I want you to ask yourself. Who is doing the censoring? The CEO of Twitter? The CEO of Facebook? The CEO of YouTube? Why are they doing the censoring? Who's telling them to censor? That's the first question. Second question. What and who are they censoring? And what you'll find out as you start researching this is that they are censoring humans that are speaking about truths that are not their truths. Truths that they don't want us to hear. And one of those truths is sex trafficking and the pedophile rings. And I ask you to ask yourself, why is that being censored? Why is it not okay to share and talk about sex trafficking? And the possibility that elite individuals may be involved. Just asking the question. This is what it looks like when you break down large consciousnesses that have been controlling humanity. It doesn't look pretty, but it's what we have to go through. The next question, why are they doing this? What are they afraid of? Why are we being censored in the United States, where our First Amendment is the freedom to speak? We have the right to speak our truth. We always have, for the most part. We've had the illusion of it. Why now? Because we're breaking out of the systems, right? They don't want us to break free. They don't want us to become sovereign. They don't want us to step out of the program and paradigm that they have used to control us. And my last question is, who are they not censoring? Who are they not censoring? They are not censoring individuals that have the same agenda as them. They're allowing the truths to be spread that are their truths. And this isn't all accounts, right? There's many, many accounts out there that are speaking about these things. The COVID result, what's actually happening with COVID, the statistics around it, the scientists around it, the sex trafficking, the satanic rituals, the pedophile rings, right? The corruption in the government, in the United States government, the massive amounts of lies and corruption that we're finding out about, or we've known about for a very long time, that are finally coming out, right? These are the things that are being censored. And the things that are not being censored are the storylines and narratives that those that are in charge of these platforms want us to hear. Ask yourself why. You guys, we are moving into higher states of consciousness, which means freedom, which means unity, which means that we allow everyone to have any opinion, which means that we dismantle corruption, we dismantle control, we dismantle fear. We dismantle manipulation. How do we dismantle it? We have to see it. And we have to see it in a way where we can't turn away anymore. And that is what we are seeing. It's an absolute gift that we are watching this censorship in the way that we are, because we actually cannot any longer turn away from the fact that we've been controlled. When you watch the fourth largest news magazine, newspaper, get censored, the press secretary of the United States gets censored, you can't turn away anymore. You have to ask why, who. You have to start to look. And when you do, you realize that those are the systems that we're collapsing. And how are we collapsing it? We are seeing it, and we are stepping into higher states of consciousness, which is our truth, our voice, our sovereignty, our light. We step into love, we step into compassion, we step into empathy. So we don't hate those that are doing that. We blanket them with love. We blanket them with love. Because no matter how loud they get with whatever they're doing, including more lockdowns, right? That's fear. They are losing control of the human population, and so they are in fear, and so they are creating more control. It's an illusion. Keep moving into your bodies and feeling your sovereignty, which is your light. Feel your truth. Speak your truth. Know your truth. Watch what's happening in the external from the lens of shifting consciousness, because it's going to continue to get louder. It's going to look like the Twilight Zone. And as long as we are staying in the understanding and awareness of what is actually happening, we'll move through this with much more ease and grace. Because this is shifting. We are becoming free. We are becoming sovereign. We already are. We are speaking our truths more and more. We are breaking out of and unshackling ourselves from what we have been shackled to our whole lives. That is stepping into higher states of consciousness. We cannot move into a new earth or a 5D dimensional field, which is right here, right now. It's right here. This is it. We can't stand in it, and we can't be in it when we are still controlled and manipulated by consciousnesses. It's impossible. We got to break it down, because it is an entire human collective that is shifting, not just one individual body. So just because you start moving into higher states of consciousness and you're living in this beautiful 5D field, it's not over. We are literally moving the entire human collective. We're doing this for the human collective, which means that we got to break down that censorship. We got to break down that control, that manipulation, the fear tactics. And that is what we're doing with love and compassion. So this isn't about a divide. This isn't about politics. This isn't even about right or wrong. This is about consciousness breaking down and shifting into higher states and seeing it from a lens that we haven't seen it from before. So remember that censorship is the voice of fear. Remember that if you want to find out if you've been controlled, if we've been controlled, look at who's being censored and why they're being censored. Because those that are censoring us are the ones that have always been controlling us. What a gift to be waking up. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking through all of this right now. I promise you it gets easier. It gets more graceful. It's so much more expansive and loving and joyful and free what we are stepping into. We just got to go through this. Lots of love.